Hello everybody, my name is Siwoo, and I'd like to today introduce you to 잭스피킹 program. 잭스피킹 program is an English learning program that'll teach the foreigners who's learning English as a second language how to speak fluently. How to speak fluently. Let's look at the problem that we're facing. The foreigners that are learning English as their second language. How do they speak? When they're speaking, the biggest problem is their own native accents. When you have accents, people seem to have a problem understanding exactly what you're trying to say. So how do we overcome that barrier? Very simple. There's going to be two things that we're going to look at right now. One, we're going to see where our accents actually came from. Secondly, we're going to see how we can get rid of the accents. Very simple. We're going to look at three examples here. I have three examples. Speaking in English. When you speak in English, the sounds that we produce comes out hello. You're greeting yourself. Hello. Now, when you're speaking in Korean, hello sounds more like 안녕 or 안녕하세요 to an elderly. Now, when you're speaking in Chinese, the sounds will come out more like ni hao. Now, the three languages that I just spoke came with three different sounds. Now, those three different sounds that I just spoken, three languages, if you look at it, they have no correlation. What I mean by that, the English language did not base its language creation from the Korean language, nor the Chinese language, and vice versa. No languages here based its language creation from one another. So they have no correlation. Each of the language was made on its own. So what do they have in common? The only thing that they have in common is the word speak. Because we're doing the same thing. Whatever language you're talking about, we're actually speaking it. So let's look at how we learned how to speak. Let's figure out how we learned how to speak when we were just a little baby. Here's a diagram that I drew up from the age of 0 when you were born until about 6, and then so forth. When you were 0 years old, or when you were just born, till about 2, you'll notice that most babies, an average baby, will not be able to speak or speak properly. They wouldn't have any knowledge of the language, so they're actually learning it. They're learning what? The sounds that people are making. Whether you learn it from your parents, at a daycare, or families, you learn the sounds before you speak. Because at the age of 2 to about 3, an average baby will have the ability to speak finally. Now, about the age of 3 to 5, you learn how to write. The words that you know how to say, you're taught how to write on paper. Now, at the age of 5 into 6 and so forth, when you're entering kindergarten and into middle school, high school, you learn what? You learn vocabs, the vocabulary, the grammar, the sentences. This is the learning process of every language. When you were first born, this is how you learn your own native language. So why is it that, here's my question, why is it that every English learning programs that are out there, why are they learning or teaching backwards? They give you a dictionary, they tell you to learn the vocabularies, they teach you the correct grammar and sentences, and then you'll learn how to write, speak, and most of the time you won't even know how to get rid of your accents. Most of the time you live your whole entire life with this accent that you have from your own native language. So how are people able to understand clearly what you're trying to say? Jack Speaking program lifts this learning process around, so you'll learn English by learning the sounds first, by learning how to speak next, by learning how to write. And then we'll get into the advanced stuff, such as vocabulary, grammar, sentences. It's funny that I say that it's advanced when learning such simple stuff, but when you look at the sounds, that's a little bit more simpler than the actual memorization. Because sounds actually is not memorizing. Sounds actually comes from our instrument, our body. Our instrument, our body, our respiratory system is drawn up here. This is how we create sounds, our respiratory system. I'm going to show you on the left hand side a diagram of our respiratory system when we inhale, when we breathe in, and also a picture when we breathe out, when we exhale. So what are the two differences? When you inhale, you bring the air into your body. So through your mouth, through your nose, the air comes in, down your windpipe. See the air down your windpipe and ultimately into your lungs. How does that work? Involuntarily it works because involuntarily your diaphragm moves itself way down. So it creates room for your lungs to bring in the air. Now when you exhale, on contrary, you bring the air out. So involuntarily your diaphragm will cause itself to go up, causing the air from the lungs to push itself way out your tunnel, out your mouth and your lungs. Now, here's the difference. When you inhale, you don't actually create sounds. Why? Because your vocal cords are opened as the air is coming in. When you exhale, however, your vocal cords are narrowing itself. Why? Because the airflow actually causes the vocal cords, when they narrow, causes them to vibrate. When you're speaking, try it out yourself. When I speak and you hold on to your vocal cords, you'll see that they vibrate. That's where the sounds actually come from. When you look at instruments, when you look at a guitar string, you vibrate them in order for it to cause the sounds. So you need what? In a human body, human instrument, you need two things. One, you need airflow to create sounds. Two, you need vibration. Airflow, vibration. Without those two, you wouldn't be able to make any sounds. You wouldn't be able to speak. So airflow and vibration allows us to be able to speak. This is called breathing technique. Breathing technique. We have acquired our breathing technique when we were just about 1 or 2 years old. Like I said before, when we learned how to speak, we learned the breathing technique. The breathing technique, however, this is the key right here. Breathing technique that you and I learned to speak our own native language was to create the sounds. I'm going to make myself as an example here. Since I am Korean and I was born in Korea, for me to learn the breathing technique when I was 2 years old, when I had actually spoken my first word, instead of writing speak, I breathed. I breathed in Korean to come up with the sound 안녕. And you too, of course. When you were a baby, when you had learned how to speak, you actually learned the breathing technique. Here's the most important part. When you learned as a little kid, as a little baby, when you learned how to breathe to create these sounds, you had learned how to breathe to create the sounds of your own native language. You did not learn those breathing techniques to speak the sounds of any other language other than your own. So for you to speak in English, you must acquire the English breathing technique. For example, if I myself, when I was learning English, if I had used my breathing technique to speak in Korean, but I wanted to say hello, it would never come out right, because hello is created by the sounds that are coming out from your body. That sound, you must learn how to breathe correctly. 잭스피킹 program is going to show you how to breathe correctly, so this way when you're speaking in English, you're breathing in English instead of breathing in your own language trying to say it in English, and that's what happens. You come up with your accents. How to get rid of the accents? Learn how to breathe in English. Breathe in English. Simple.